Good morning, everybody, or good afternoon or good evening, depending upon where you are. How's everybody doing today? This is Dan Ryan, and I'm joined today with Shiv Shenoy. Both of us are seasoned PMP exam training experts. How's everybody doing? Can you guys hear me okay? Well, thank you for that thumbs up, Abdul. Glad to see you're doing good. And we're just going to wait another minute or so to let everybody who registered get coming in. I might just ask you guys a couple of warm-up questions to see if we know anything about the PMP. Here's a question for you. Page 72 is the project plans, right? Page 61 is where that very important table that you have to memorize is, right? How many knowledge areas are there, guys? Okay, a lot of people are choosing 47. 47 is the processes that there are, but 10 is the knowledge areas. All right. Got to be very careful about our nomenclatures, right? What about the process groups? How many process groups are there? Okay, that one people seem to be a lot more clear on, right? How'd you guys hear about this webinar? How'd you guys hear about us? Did you get an email from one of us? Did you see it on social media? Oh, so a nice blend. I wish there were more friend-told me's. All right. Well, we're going to have an amazing PMP session today. We're going to show you something crazy. Now, out of everybody on this call so far, I really hope everybody wants to take the PMP version 5 before it changes. Can you vote to tell me if you will take it before it changes, if that's your hopes and aspirations? Because that's what this webinar is all about. This webinar is all about making it the last mile, right? PMP 5 is only around for another little bit. This is the last chance to get that cram program together and get that done. All right, you guys, I hope you're liking the way these poll questions are set up. Have you applied for your exam yet? Right, so that's a lot of no's. All right, so you better get started on that, because if you don't get your application in soon, you might wind up not getting a spot. I had somebody who applied. They wanted to apply for the end of March, but the only thing that was available was February 28th. So now they're taking the test a month earlier than they like because they waited too long to apply for their exam. Occasionally, I'll check in with you to ask you about how my audio is. All right, hit the thumbs up if you can see my screen. All right, glad to see that. Let's see what questions we have coming in from you guys. All right, there are some audience questions. All right, we'll get back to Mushtak later. All right, guys, so welcome to the last mile before the PMP, brought to you by myself and Shiv Shenoy. All right, I am the PM exam coach, also known as the PM tutor, and I make PMP exam studies simple for people. Shiv, author of the PM exam smart notes, and many other resources and things in the preparation testing PMP industry. All right, now, during my preparation for the PMP, when I was getting certified in 2011, I noticed that it was a real disaster to figure out what materials you needed, what simulator, what questions, what videos. So I wanted to put it all together in a simple checklist because people love checklists. Project managers love checklists, right? Just give me a checklist and let me go down the checklist. So I have very straightforward instruction to help you pass the test. This is no nonsense training, okay? And we get right to the meat of the problems, and we go right for all of the gold, and none of the dirt, right? We just expose all those important learning nuggets, tell people exactly what they can expect on the exam, and give them the tools to study to pass it. Now, the way I do that, all right, is through a recorded group PMP coaching class. So with the deadline coming up for the exam, not everybody has a chance to schedule for a class. So what I did was I took my best recorded class that I had ever done and delivered, an actual boot camp, and I have packaged it into a product that you can watch remotely. Okay, a 6-hour recorded. It was a live class. It's now recorded. And you will be able to watch the class in its entirety and experience it as if you were really there. Now, in addition to that, I have other coaching videos, workbooks, and all kinds of access to study sheets, Facebook, that's included with that class. All right, and this is all delivered to you through this online PMP e-coaching platform. So it's a very exciting solution. You could get it done very quickly. It's about 4 to 6 hours long to watch the course, but it's very engaging, and I'm demonstrating all of the entire PMBOK material for version 5, and you can have everything you need to be able to pass the PMP before it changes to version 6. All right, so that's the high level there. Now, I would like to make an introduction now to Shiv Shenoy.
Hi, thank you, Dan. I was just checking my mic and figured I was in mute.
Sure.
So hi, folks. Good morning or good evening, based on which part of the globe you are attending this training from. My name is Shiv Shenoy. For over 15 years, I have managed projects for startups as well as enterprise organizations using traditional and agile methodologies. Pardon me, I'm having a bit of sore throat today, so I may have to clear my throat now and then. And in the past 4 years, I have helped thousands of PMP students prepare for their PMP exam through my exam notes, books, and coaching. Now, some of you may know that Dan and I have been working together to help PMP students for about 10 months now. So what we did is we pulled out the best parts of from our respective PMP prep systems and created an easy step-by-step PMP study system that has now helped over 100 people pass their PMP exam. And one set of those tools is the PMP Last Mile Prep Resources. So over the years, during my conversation with PMP students, I noticed an interesting pattern. A majority of people that failed the exam felt that they studied pretty well and somehow still couldn't make it. So we tried a few things like, memorizing ITOs, etc., but then nothing worked, and I was pulling out my hair. And then I studied this pattern very closely, prodded them with more of, to share more of their PMP exam experience, and finally discovered that they failed for a very simple reason. So after studying the PMP material, the books and the video courses and so on, they didn't actually tie those loose ends and figured how to apply that learning on the exam. Those 4 hours are important. How you manage those 4 hours is very crucial. And on the other part, those that passed the exam did exactly what was required, manage the 4 hours on the exam efficiently, had access to the required information at will, and moved through the questions swiftly, answering them with confidence. So I worked with them some more and created a set of resources using brain-friendly techniques, things that are easier. And that resulted in higher percentage of passing. So we were on to something. So the feedback we got from more people that use these resources helped us refine them even further. And now they are proven to skyrocket the chances of passing the exam. And the reason I say this is because they nicely fill in the gap between, studying well for the exam and then actually passing it. So that's the last mile I'm talking about. Now you may be thinking, what does this PMP last mile prep resource set contain, right? So it contains the formula guide, simulator, sample questions, PMP mnemonics, 13 plus question types and individual strategies to answer them, flashcards, brain dump, concept capsules, and cheat sheets, and even a psychology-based test taking strategy that helps you answer more questions in lesser time on the exam. So these are exactly the set of tools that have been now proven to get the last mile boost before the exam. Now, how about right now we go over some of these study tools, right? Go ahead and give me a thumbs up if you are up for some PMP education. Would you like to learn few PMP concepts in a way that you won't forget them for the rest of your life?
That's a lot of
I'm
thumbs.
not kidding. So, yeah. Awesome. So, pardon me. I mentioned the word mnemonic a minute ago. So you probably know what is a mnemonic. So if you're not sure, let me ask you this. How many days are there in the month of June? Right? If you are right now looking at your knuckles, that means you know what a mnemonic is. So what you do is you hold your knuckles together, go from one end, calling out months, and the months on the peaks represent 31 days, and the months on the troughs represent 30 days. So that's a mnemonic we've all been taught, during our childhood days. So a mnemonic is nothing but a memory aid. So it helps us remember and recall any information with least amount of effort at will, right? And what you do is you basically associate a piece of information that you're already familiar with a piece of information that you're not familiar with. And this association is called a hook. So that's basically how you create a mnemonic. So what if I give you a bunch of mnemonics to remember some complex information from the vast PMP content right now? Would that help you? Yes, on the PMP exam, you'll be able to recall information very quickly and at will, and in a way that you need. So this helps you answer questions quickly, saves a lot of time on the exam, and most importantly, you'll feel confident getting into that exam room. So if I were to ask you this question, pardon me, what's the most important page of PMBOK guide? What would that page be? So type in your answer in the chat window now. This is for those of you that are using PMBOK for your exam preparation. I know some people don't, and I also agree that PMBOK is not one of the juiciest books to study from. So we'll give you an alternative in a bit. But in the meanwhile, if you did study the PMBOK or even went through it, which page of the PMBOK is most important? Yes, so many people are writing page number 61, which is the famous table 3.1, right? So this shows how the 47 processes are sliced and diced between knowledge areas and process groups. Now, you know that if you did remember these knowledge areas and the process groups in that sequence, you'll pretty much be able to understand how the 47 processes flow across them in a very logical manner. Now, I'm sure many here are concerned about how to remember ITOs for the exam perspective. And this is the first step to master the understanding of ITOs and answer those questions on the exam. Now, let's take a look at this mind map. So if you're familiar with the concept of mind map, you may probably enjoy this. So here's a mind map that shows you how to get those knowledge areas, how they impact the project, which is very important. Not just that, there is one sentence which will help you remember the knowledge areas in the same order as they impact the project, as they are given in the table. And the sentence is, integrating scope and time will cost our quality human resources a great deal of communication overhead with the risk of procuring stakeholders. I know it's silly, and that's why it works. Animate as much as you can, visualize you saying that to your manager if you want, right? Memorize the sentence, and then you'll be able to recall the knowledge areas in the exact same sequence. Now, remembering process groups is much simpler. Let's say, I'll take 10 seconds to go over that. Let's say you are celebrating your birthday and yep, you need a cake. So you first decide to bake a cake, right? And then you think through the ingredients and the steps and get the dough, mix it, add ingredients, make sure that it's all mixed well, place in the oven at the right temperature. And while doing all this, you check to make sure that the consistency of the dough is right, oven temperature is correct, and so on. And finally, you take it out, celebrate, right, and serve it hot. So you basically initiated, planned, executed, monitored, and controlled, and closed a bake a cake project. Now here is another one. Responsibilities of project manager, operations manager, and functional manager in an organization. Now this is one area to expect questions on the exam. Now this mind map will get you that understanding in seconds. Now, as you can see, the project manager helps achieve an objective of the organization while managing the constraints such as scope, time, cost, quality, resources, and risk. Whereas an operations manager oversees a specific part of the core business of the organization, such as network maintenance or manufacturing process. And the PM needs to work with operations manager during strategic milestones of the project. For example, after a product is developed, the maintenance team, which is part of the operations, needs to be trained to maintain the product. So on the other hand, a functional manager oversees an administrative area, such as accounting, sales, and finance, and lends resources, which are human or otherwise, to the project manager for specific projects. So here is another example of a mnemonic, which is a phrase. So we can use the 7 basic tools of quality. You can expect at least a question from these on the exam. We are talking about cause and effect diagram, check sheets, control sheets, flow charts, histogram, Pareto diagram, and scatter diagram. Pardon me. Of course, you need to know each of these tools, what they do. And there is simple and easy explanation of them in the smart notes. But here we are only looking to remember and recall those tools at will. Now note down the first letter of each of these 7 tools of quality. Let's use them and create a phrase. And we will hook it up in our brain using a visual. A visual makes a great hook, by the way. Now visualize a family picnic and all are playing and having a great time, and the daughter notices something and tells her cousin excitedly, see, father and husband are playing soccer. Excuse me. So this is not a difficult sentence to remember. Dan, if you can move to the next slide. Yeah. So this is not a difficult sentence to remember. And from this phrase, you can recall CCC, FHPS, and each one helps you recall those 7 tools of quality.
Oh, that's really cool, man. I have seen some people be pretty creative with some of these mnemonics, and Shiv, you really have an interesting take on how you've created this. And I was asking the group online if they were visual learners. A lot of people were saying yes. And, a lot of times these mnemonics and the ways you have these mind maps, they really are helpful in the sense that people who are more visual in learning can really appreciate them.
Definitely. Definitely. So moving on to maybe a couple of more. You know the 5 basic tools of schedule, right? They are early schedule, late start schedule, baseline schedule, resource limited schedule, and target schedule. Again, we'll look at the first letters, try to create a phrase, and then hook it up in our brain. So imagine you are just about to present your project's schedule to your manager, and he says, "All right, elaborate your schedule, please." Now, by simply writing down the word elaborate, you can recall the names of 5 schedule types, which is coming on the next slide, right? Just the word elaborate will help you recall them in that sequence. A graph is another type of mnemonic. It's a great tool, really, to pack so much of in-depth information and insight into one single image. So let's look at this project lifecycle graph for a second. Now, this has time on the x-axis and impact on the y-axis. It shows that project costs and the need for staff is less in the initial stages and increase during execution phase. That's the blue line we are looking at. And then it tapers down towards the end of it. Excuse me. Stakeholders' influence on the project as well as project uncertainty, that's the orange line here, is highest during the initial stages of the project and then tapers down with the time. The cost of changes can increase substantially in the execution phase. We know that, right? Which actually highlights the importance of proper scope identification and requirement definition during the initial stages of the project. Now, this graph alone can help you answer a couple of questions on the exam easily. So let's look at a bunch of tall buildings here. With this simple image, you can understand that work package cost includes activity level cost estimates and contingency reserve, that's leftmost bar, and that the control accounts in the next bar, pardon me, include work package cost estimates and the reserves at their level. And then understand that management reserve, which is for unknown unknowns, is outside of the cost baseline but within the project budget. That's a quite mouthful, I know. Excuse me. But now it's very easy to understand when you take a look at this image. Okay, just one more before I take a break. Communication is the area where project managers spend over 90% of their efforts. I bet you knew this. With this image, you can understand how basic communication model works, the need for acknowledgement, and the understanding that message can be lost, right, or changed due to unwanted noise, the need for information security and medium of communication, and so on. Well, we can go on and on, but for the sake of time, let me stop here. So the PMP last mile resources are actually filled with such memory aids and other simple tools that we looked at to prepare yourself for the big day.
All right, that's fantastic. Now, I want everybody to click thumbs up if they think that Shiv should get a cup of chamomile tea with some honey in it. And if they liked his presentation. Wow, that was really amazing, man. Sorry that you have a little bit of a throat there. Get yourself a cup of tea while Dan takes over. All right, because that's the first half of the program. That's what Shiv brings to the table, is these amazing visual aids and mnemonics. So there's people that are asking me to go over parts of these diagrams again. I wish I could, but we have to keep on schedule, Julius. So, but we will, be sending out a recording of this, and everybody who stays till the end of this presentation is going to get a very special free gift as well. All right, but thank you so much, Shiv. That was truly amazing. All right, I just want to make sure that everybody is hearing and seeing the screen okay. Did you guys all give me a thumbs up if you did? If you were able, if thumbs down if you can't see the screen or you can't hear, because Shiv just gave some amazing presentation about his PM exam smart notes. What a wonderful group of resources they are. Okay, so let's move on now. All right. as we know, PMBOK 6 is right around the corner, March 26th. The good news is if you start right now, you still have plenty of time. I don't care what anybody says. You have plenty of time to pass the PMP exam before it changes March 26th, because those changes are coming. PMI is going to update the syllabus. They're taking a look at these agile projects these days. And, they are growing like a weed throughout projects with Scrum and Lean and, all the different types of agile approaches. So PMBOK's going to add about 600 pages to it. Much better if you just take the test now while that's not included, right? So each knowledge area will have a little tailoring section added to it. It'll depend upon your type of project that you're having. And you'll either be determining whether it's got to be an adaptive or a predictive project. The requirements are going to be much more difficult between the customer and the project manager. Organizational types get more complex. There's composites and different types of organizational types compared to version 5. The tools and techniques and the inputs and outputs start getting, if you think they're detailed now with 618 ITTOs, well, many of these ITTOs start getting grouped together in another sub-level based on their category and their type. So it is a cleaner, more wise approach, but it is also more to remember. So if you don't want to do version 6, you need to have the right stuff to look at, like, Shiv Smart Notes, Mnemonics, and other types of PMP study programs. And you need a live coach like yours truly to tie everything together for you. I'm going to give you a little sample of some coaching in just a couple of minutes. All right. But let's get through some of the disinformation. People say the PMP exam, is it difficult? And I go online and I see people on LinkedIn in the different groups talking and saying, oh, too late to study for this PMBOK 5. Sorry, because you got to read the PMP. You got to read the PMBOK through 4 times. It's, there's a lot of misinformation out there. It's not accurate. The test is very hard. Of course it is. But version 6 is going to be loaded with the agile stuff and a lot harder. So don't worry about people who tell you to read the PMBOK 16 times. I'm only joking, but still, even twice or even once. If you have the right information, good study notes, good study workbooks, good study videos, you won't have to read the PMBOK 3 times or read, some lady's book or things of that nature. All right, you won't have to take boot camps or any college courses either. Excuse me for that. Sometimes you hear about these people at work and they're talking and saying, well, we have someone who's PMP certified at our job, and everybody listens to what he says, and he says we have to read the PMBOK 3 times. All right, well, he's wrong. You just need to have a no-nonsense approach to passing the test. And if you want to pass before March 26th, it's very simple. Take it very seriously. At this point now, you're going to be 1 or 2 hours a day, maybe 5-6 days a week. You're going to be studying, doing lots of practice questions. But you shouldn't be afraid to do that, because once you get through it, you'll be so happy when you're PMP certified before that version 6 comes out. Follow a checklist. For example, Shiv and I's materials, we've combined those into a checklist. And as Shiv was mentioning before, the most important page on the PMBOK is the 61. Now, this project framework is exactly how the coaching materials are meant to be sequenced. All right, so even my recorded coaching course that you'll watch will follow this particular sequence, right? We're going to do project integration, scope, time, cost, quality, HR, communications, risk, procurement, and stakeholder. And what you will do is you will have your workbooks, your videos, and your quizzes for each of these knowledge areas. You're going to watch my recorded coaching course, and you're going to review Shiv Smart Notes. Again, you'll go to the next knowledge area and you're going to do your workbooks, your quizzes, your videos, watch the recorded coaching course, and follow Shiv's notes. And then, of course, at the end, you're going to have to do a series of full random exams. All right, so this is not particularly difficult. This is not a very, very scientific approach. Very much a keep it simple approach to bring you through all of the framework of the project management body of knowledge. And you could cover all of this material easily, in just 2 to 3 days if you dedicate the right amount of time. All right, the checklist. As you check off your items on your checklist, you simply go down the list like that. Very simple. No need to make it more complicated than it really is. All right. No need to just simply read 500-page manuals page by page. Just go in, get the nuggets that you need, and follow the checklist, right? Read the SMART notes. You remember the Cliff's Notes in high school, where I grew up? You could go to, this was before the internet, you could go to the stationery store and get these little yellow books, Cliff's Notes. Well, they still contained what most of the information that you needed to know for your exam, right? Well, the SMART Notes by Shiv are similar to that in the sense that they get right to the heart of the matter, and they don't beat around the bush. They give you the sample questions. They give you the nuggets on each area. Okay? You watch the videos, right? We have a whole set of recorded coaching online videos, and then you're going to do your practice tests. So important to underscore that you have a good simulator, not just some free app that you downloaded at the iStore. You're taking the test in a real testing center on a computer. That's how you should practice, all right? Spend the money, invest in a program that gives you premium simulators. All right. Why waste hundreds or thousands of dollars on various products? And then because you don't want to have a premium simulator, you wind up in a position where you haven't tested yourself properly. So you don't really know if you're ready. All right, I'll show you how you can be ready. Let's go through some practice questions, and I will give you a little heads up on how to answer these. All right, who's ready for some practice questions? Guys ready to do some practice questions? Let's take a look at this table. All right, this is the one everybody's talking about. So this is what you have to memorize. Maybe I'll make this a little smaller. How's that? This is the table you have to memorize. You don't have to memorize the numbers. All right, you just have to memorize the words and write them down. Even though you're not allowed to do this during your tutorial anymore, you should still quickly jot this down on the blank paper that they give you in the testing center. All right, now this is just one of the sample of one of the tools that also comes with the program we offer. To study the ITTOs, you can click on any one of these processes, and you'll see that it has a description, details, tells you where it happens, inputs, outputs, and tools and techniques. You click here to come back to the top level. So if you have this framework memorized, okay, and written down on paper, as you get these scenario-based questions on the exam, you try to leverage your knowledge of this framework, to answer, more questions correctly. All right, so let's try some practice questions, and then, see if we can leverage that table and use that to explain some of our justifications for some of the ways we answer. All right, so we're going to get everybody involved here. Which of the following is an activity that's carried out in the monitor and control project work process? Scoping the project, estimating costs, planning risks, or measuring performance? All right, you can put your answer into the attendee chat if you'd like, we're also going to run a couple of cool interactive polls. All right, everybody is selecting answer D, measuring performance, and that is correct. Okay, because when you're measuring performance, right, you are measuring planned versus actuals. And that is a big part of monitoring and controlling the project work. Now, during the managed stakeholder engagement process, which of the following tasks is not performed, right? Keyword is not there. Addressing stakeholders' concerns, identifying stakeholders, resolving stakeholder issues, or communicating with stakeholders. Right? Is everybody going to choose their answer? And I'm going to send a poll out, so where you're going to have to actually give your answer. I'm going to stop the screen share, and I'm going to run the poll, and I want to ask you guys which one you guys chose. Hold on one second. All right, for the question I just shared, what letter did you guys choose? All right, very good, I think, because everybody's realizing that that's identifying stakeholders happens much earlier in the process, right? So let's close that up here, come back to the question. And yes, everybody was basically right. That it is identify stakeholders. And here's why, right? Manage stakeholder engagement process is down here, right? On the bottom in the middle, 13.3. But identify stakeholders happens up here in the initiating process group. So that's how you know that you can eliminate that one. Which of the following statements is not true about the managed communications process? This process ends when the last project deliverable has been delivered. This process carries out the communication management plan. This process may include anticipated requests from the customer, or this process is in the executing process group. Oops, I kind of flew right through that, didn't I? Sorry about that. I got click happy. Yeah, this process does not end when the last deliverables been delivered, okay? It ends when the entire project ends. So if we look here, right, you can see that deliverables, we're going to validate the deliverables with the customer, right? Originally, the deliverables are created over here, right? They're outputs of direct and managed project work. Well, they spend some time with the quality team. All right, they spend some time with the quality team getting inspected. All right, now this is like sort of what I do in class here. All right, they get inspected. And if the quality team is okay with them and they don't have too many defects, then they can come up here to validated scope where they become inputs. And again, another inspection occurs, but this time it's not the internal team. This time it's the project manager and the customer. And what we are hoping is that the customer chooses accepted deliverables, right? So even when that last deliverable is accepted, it still has to go through the close project or phase process. All right, and that could be much later. All right, in which of the following processes is the risk register created? Identify risks, plan risk response, control risks, or plan risk management. All right, now this one I'm throwing a softball up to you guys because I think that, you know, I want to try to help you build some confidence on this process. All right, let's stop the screen share and get everybody to, we're looking for a 95% or better for everybody to be choosing the same one, I hope. Let me share the percentages with you guys. Oh yeah, we're staying above 95. Oh, we're down to 94. Oh, back up to 95. Well, pretty proud of you guys because you very astutely identified that the risk register is an output of identify risks, right? And we can prove that by going to the identify risks process, right? And seeing over here that in fact the risk register is an output of identify risks. To which project management process group does manage stakeholder engagement belong? All right. No need to dilly-dally on this. If you've been studying PMP for a week, you should be all over this quickly. Super easy question. You're loving it. You're ready to answer. Stop the screen. Run the poll. And I want to see 100% right on this one. Come on, guys. All right, now, there's only 5 project management process groups. And there's only 4 listed, so you really had a 25% chance. Of course, yes, it is. It is executing, right? Because you're managing. Executing is managing. Think about those action verbs. Executing. Here we go. Manage stakeholder engagement, executing. Okay. Let's move on. You're managing a construction project that contains 20 sequential activities. If you add up the planned PV of each of the activities, what do you get? Budget of completion, estimate to complete, estimate at complete, or actual cost. Well, a little bit of a trick question. But if your entire project contains 20 things, they're all the same. When you add up all those PVs, you will wind up with your total budget, which is also referred to as BAC, which means budget at completion. Okay, during the monitor and control project work process, which component of the project management plan may get updated? The charter, the traceability matrix, the business case, or the schedule management plan? All right, Kaushik says D, and Julius says D, and VJ says D. Oh, B. VJ says B. Salim says B. Mohit says D. Phillips, oh gosh, guys are answering crazy fast. All right, the answer is the schedule management plan. All right, the project charter happens way back in initiating. Even the requirements traceability matrix is from planning. The business case is an input to the charter. All right. Which of the following is not a quality management methodology? Lean Six Sigma, quality function deployment, rolling wave planning, or plan, do, check, act cycle? All right, Lean Six Sigma, yeah, that's a quality management methodology. Quality function deployment is related, and plan, do, check, act as well. But really, rolling wave planning is part of the scope knowledge area and therefore could be eliminated. Which of the following processes should be completed prior to the validate scope process? All right, is it control quality? Is it perform integrated change control? Is it close project or phase? Or is it control scope? Now, a lot of people are choosing, well, I'm not going to say here. Let's do a poll on this one. Let's make it exciting. Let's stop the screen share. I'm going to start the poll, and let's get everybody on record. Tricky question, right? Tricky question. Let's go back. And the answer is control quality. So this is what I was showing you before, right? We had the deliverables that came from direct and managed project work. Then we actually went down to control quality, not to control scope. Control scope can happen in parallel, but first thing that happens is we send those deliverables to the quality control team where they're inspected, and only when they're validated, then you can come to the validate scope section. Seller proposals in project procurement management are evaluated using which of the following techniques? Make or buy analysis, control chart, Pareto chart, or expert judgment. Seller proposals. All right, this one will go from the chat. I'm seeing lots of A's, A, D, D. I'm seeing D's, A's and D's, A's and D's, A's and D's. The answer is D, expert judgment. Okay, when we get seller proposals, we're doing conduct procurements, and we're using expert judgment to evaluate those proposals. Make or buy analysis is a tool or technique of the plan procurement, right? So let's take a look here. Let's go to plan procurement, right? Make or buy analysis is not when we're conducting procurements, but rather when we are planning procurements. All right, so very good on whoever got that one right. Which of the following project documents is not updated during the control costs process? Is it the cost baseline, the cost management plan, the basis of cost estimates, or the project charter? Which of the following project documents is not updated during the control cost process? Again, I'm seeing D's and A's, mostly D's, but a couple of A's. The answer is the project charter. Project charter, again, that occurs way back in the initiation process group, so would not apply here at all. Which of the following documents defines the roles of the risk management team members and their responsibilities? Is it A, the risk management plan, B, the project charter, C, the work breakdown structure, or D, the risk register? All right, how many people want to say it's the risk register? Let's see, let's take a poll. Let's take a poll. A lot of you sharp guys are going, and sharp girls are going for the risk management plan, because you know that the risk register, okay, the risk register is identified from the identify risk process, but the output of plan risk management, okay, is what's called the risk management plan, right? Plan risk management creates the risk management plan. And what's in the risk management plan? What's in the risk management plan is how we're going to manage risk on the project, what the people's roles on the project will be, and what their responsibilities will be as well. So that's the risk management plan. All right, who's having fun? You guys having fun? This is the most fun you could ever be having on a Thursday. And I hope that you are really enjoying the heck out of this coaching. Okay, I hope you loved what you saw. All right, this is just the tip of the iceberg, guys, what you get when you join up with Dan and Shiv, the most famous combination of PMP providers emerging as pioneers in the industry today. And you guys are, and what Shiv and I are ready to offer you today just for being action takers and coming to this webinar is an amazing and incredible offer. All of Shiv's Smart Notes with a total value of $248. An amazing value. The group coaching offer, which includes the e-coaching system with $179 value, coaching videos, PMP workbooks, mock questions, and study sheets, as well as my famous recorded PMP coaching course with a value of $79 used by thousands of people, a total value of $258. And when you take these extras, right, Shiv's $248 value, my program with a $258 value, you get a $506 value. Now, for being action takers, we're going to slash and we're going to burn that price. So are we going to charge you $506? We're not. Okay, we know that we can do better. All right, so you would say $406 is a fair price, maybe. But we are not going to do that to you either, because we can still do better. We know you're trying to pass this test before March 26th, and you need a great deal. So we're going to keep reducing, we're going to keep slashing, and we're going to make it as low as we can. Is $206 fair for everything that you saw? Shouldn't $206 be fair? We can still do better. All right, that's a huge savings, but just tell me one more time. What exactly do I get? Well, you get the 6-hour recorded crash course from Dan Ryan, which you can watch over and over. Thousands of people have used it. It covers the whole PMP version 5. Right? You get the videos, the workbooks, the questions, and the study sheets. And then look at all of these wonderful extras with Shiv, of course, the PMP questions, the flashcards, more questions and a mind map, a formula guide, the Mnemonics book, the essential concepts, and even a bonus project manager's guidebook. We're not done yet. I'm going to throw in another special bonus, which is going to be an additional 600 question PMP exam simulator, totally free. And this is in addition to the one Shiv gets you. Like I said, we've had hundreds of people use our program. You can see a testimonial right here on your screen in front of you. So with no further ado, let me please tell you the wonderful offer that you're going to get all this value for only $119. So I'd like to thank you so much for attending this webinar, and I hope you really choose to take advantage of this great offer. You will not be sorry you did. It will help you pass the PMP exam before it changes on March 26th. Again, thank you very much, and have a nice day. Shiv has put the offer link in the window. All right. Any questions about the program? I see a lot of people added questions. Let me see if I can answer some of them. I heard there's no difference. That couldn't be more wrong. There is a huge difference. They're adding like several hundred pages to the PMBOK. Hurry and get the exam done before that happens. All right. Okay, I would say less than 4 weeks. Okay, if you did it right and you followed this list, it would be less than 4 weeks. Sorry, Jerome, we can't send it via email, buddy. We'll try, but you should just copy it down from where it's been pasted now. All right. Let's see, we got a lot of other questions coming in here too. Heck yeah, this 6 hours of training is going to be enough for you to be totally prepared in 3 weeks. You'll go through my videos, my workbooks, you'll look at Shiv Smarts notes, you'll study 1 to 2 hours a day, and you'll do the simulator exams. And even on the weekend, maybe on a Saturday, you can do a 3-hour exam, 4-hour exam. Tell everybody to leave you alone. Go in the basement, lock yourself in there, have a cup of coffee, and do an exam. There's plenty of time left if you're willing to work hard for it. All right, it's not going to be easy, okay? But you could do great. All right, let me check my other questions here. All right. I'm going to give you guys a couple more minutes to ask me any questions about the course. Very good. Yeah, we tried to really bring together a beautiful blend of materials for you guys today. Are we late to take the exam? This person keeps asking this. I'm not sure what that means. No, you're not too late to take the exam 5. No, absolutely not. You just got to finish your application, get it submitted. That only takes 3 to 5 business days. They'll reply to you. You'll quickly contact the Prometric Testing Center, schedule your exam before March 26th, and then do the last mile webinar study program, follow the checklist, and pass the test. All right, let's see. What other questions? Just 1 or 2 more questions before we part. You don't need any book in addition to these videos and workbooks and programs. That's the point. This program contains all the information you need. You don't have to go and read some separate book. And that's what you need because you only have until March 26th. Yes, the questions presented today are similar. I'm not going to lie. A couple of them were easier because I'm trying to demonstrate to you the interactive nature of my coaching and how I coach you on how to answer the questions right. So some of them were a little easier, but then, I also put that one in there about validate scope that tripped everybody up, right? So the questions in our simulators are harder for sure. You can never memorize all of the ITTOs, but you'll spend a lot of time on that spreadsheet that I give you, and that will help you. Fran, that's the part that Shiv talked about where, everything was included in his books on how to memorize that. All right. Well, guys, thank you so much for being with me and Shiv today. It was really fantastic being here with you guys. All right. Thank you so much. I really hope that you guys decide to take advantage. Now, I have your freebie. I'm going to put a link into this page right now, and I have a freebie for you guys. All right. A free workbook. And I'm about to click it in right now. All right. If you go to that, it's also on that link that Shiv put in there earlier. On that page, on that landing page right here, here it is again, on this landing page, the offer will be there for $119, that's for sure. But then also you'll see a URL, a link to click for the freebie. And that is, you stayed till the end. I promised you a freebie, and that's what you get for being an action taker.